So injury problems have taken another turn at Arsenal. In our horrendous loss to Manchester United in the FA Cup, we saw new injury problems once again. Not only was Ricardo Calafiore out of the squad due to a new muscle injury, and Jurriën Timber had to be subbed off with what looked like a hamstring issue, Gabriel Jesus had to be stretched off the pitch in around the 40th minute with what looks like to be a very serious knee injury. Remember to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future uploads, and leave a like on the video while you are down there. Gabriel Jesus' Arsenal career has mainly been filled with injury issues and trying to get back to his best before another injury occurs. We all remember the brilliance of Gabriel Jesus when he first joined Arsenal in a deal worth around £50 million. He looked like one of the best players in the Premier League and was one of our key players in what was an unbelievable first half of the 2022-2023 season. However, his Arsenal career was never the same after the World Cup break, as the Brazilian sustained a serious knee injury in the World Cup for Brazil. The knee injury he sustained in the World Cup saw the striker being out of action for up to 100 days. When he returned back to action, he had some good stints, but it was not at the same level like it was before the World Cup. In the summer of 2023, the knee problem came back and he missed a lot of pre-season and the first couple of games in the Premier League. But now that Gabriel Jesus came back from his injury, he looked like a very different player. It wasn't the skillful, fast, techie Gabriel Jesus, which we saw the year before. It seemed like a player who was playing with pain, who didn't fully believe in his own body, and a player who lacked confidence. Gabriel Jesus also said himself last year that he couldn't remember the last game he played without pain in his knee. Anyways, he only missed 4 competitive games at the start of 2023, and everyone now hoped Gabriel Jesus could fight back to his old self. Unfortunately, just 2 months later he suffered another injury. This time it was a hamstring issue. The hamstring injury saw the striker miss around 3 weeks of action, which alone isn't bad, but when we see it in the context of his recurring issues, it's far from ideal. It is now November 2023, and Jesus has already had 2 injuries during the season. Surely it has to stop now. Jesus finds some good form, getting 6 goal contributions in 10 league games, and then once again he suffers another knee injury to the same knee that got hurt during the World Cup in 2022. He missed another month or so with action, and it was now March 2023, and Arsenal looked unstoppable, so Jesus struggled to get into the starting 11 until the season was over. Now we move into the current season, and in just game week 2, Jesus is set to miss a few weeks of action once again. Now it was a groin injury, but thankfully it was just a minor injury. But with once again being sidelined, he struggled to start games in the current season as well, apart from the odd cup game here and there. But in the middle of December, it looked like he finally would get his Arsenal career back on track, with him scoring a hat-trick against Crystal Palace in the League Cup quarter-finals, and then just 3 days later he scored another 2 goals against Crystal Palace, this time in the Premier League. Up until the last game against Manchester United, Gabriel Jesus scored 6 goals and got 1 assist in his last 6 starts for Arsenal. It looked like the Gabriel Jesus of 2022 was back, or at least in some sort. But no, in the 3rd round of the FA Cup, Gabriel Jesus suffers an injury and has to be stretched off the pitch, but no one really knows the details of the injury as he's yet to go through the scans. Mikel Arteta said after the game that it doesn't look good at all, and he also mentioned that it wasn't the same knee he has suffered injuries to before, it was now the other knee. And multiple physio experts on social media are saying it looks like a horrible injury for Jesus, and Physio Scout had this to say regarding Jesus' most recent injury. Gabriel Jesus had to be stretched off in Arsenal's clash versus Man United with a knee injury. Collapse of the knee, pivoting and a tibia bone shift were seen, which usually points towards an ACL injury plus and minus the meniscus. There is still a chance that he's only suffered a meniscus injury, isolated MCL injury, or just a bone bruise, but that would be an unlikely scenario. And the potential recovery times if it's the ACL is around 9 months, if it's the meniscus is between 3 and 4 months, and if it's a bone bruise, it's less than a week. And he also said that hopefully Jesus only suffers the later possibility, but the mechanism used by the physios on the pitch does unfortunately point towards a bad injury. So it looks like Gabriel Jesus unfortunately has torn his ACL and will miss the rest of the season and the start of the next one. However, it just doesn't look like it was meant to be a match between Gabriel Jesus and Arsenal. His Arsenal career has just been filled with regular injuries. So far, Jesus has missed a total of 35 games through injury, with them coming every time it looks like he's found some sort of form again. And if the experts are right about him now suffering an ACL injury, I doubt we'll ever see the best of Gabriel Jesus once again. When we signed him, it looked like the perfect fit, but all in all, it seems like injuries has completely ruined Gabriel Jesus' Arsenal career.